This is a Clearview podcast.
Look at this dude.
Oh my.
He's
That's,
30.
Is that really? That's in the cockpit.
That's Carpe Mañana on air, in the air.
Wow.
He's 30,000 feet.
Look, he's above the clouds. Look at him.
Simon,
Wow.
that's amazing. Thank
Simon.
you. Thank
Oh
you
my
for watching
goodness.
it.
And I
That
know they
is-
don't offer that as an in-flight movie. So
That is
that's,
fun.
he
That's
had
the
to-
video from
amazing.
Simon.
Yeah,
That's
he's flying the plane. Yeah, so in episode 101, I jokingly said, like, hey, we have a friend who's a pilot. And I called him, I said, Simon, if you love us, you'll do this. And I guess he loved us a lot because he
Oh,
did
he
it.
did it.
That's
Shoot.
amazing. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Simon.
That's
That was
amazing.
really cool.
Wow.
Welcome to this week's episode of Carpe Mañana, the show where we talk about how to capture tomorrow today. I don't know how to follow that intro. That's unbelievable.
pretty insane.
That's
Yeah.
pretty amazing. We've got an amazing episode planned for you guys today. But first, let's go around and introduce ourselves to you.
I'm Dr. Abidan Shaw.
I'm Rebecca Shaw.
I'm John Galantis.
I'm David Williamson.
I'm Kelsey McKeel.
And I am Ryan Hill. And Dr. Shaw, do you want to introduce our very special
Yes.
guest on today's
Today
episode?
We have a very special guest.
I think
my
our first
lovely
guest of
wife,
season 2.
Nicole,
Wow.
is here with us.
Hi, Nicole.
And she's been on Carpe Mañana before.
Yes.
She was
Give
in
us
season one.
absolutely.
Give us a nice wave to the camera.
Very nice. Very nice. Now we get to see what you look like.
That's
right.
Yes. First guest appearance on season 2.
Wow.
Yes.
Love it.
That's awesome. Well, we've got a lot planned for you guys today. Like we said, we're going to start talking about the sermon series that's coming up here at Clearview and this emphasis on marriage. But before we do that, you know what time it is. We've got to start with Clock the Socks.
I'm feeling good about my odds.
Yeah, are you feeling good about your
feeling
submission
really
this week?
good.
Oh.
I gave up. I'm like, you know what? I'm not even wearing it. It's not even worth it.
Dropped out.
I did.
David, you've kicked
Because
Dr. Shot out of the contest.
I'm not
You made
trying
him
to
give
kick
up.
anybody out.
What is
No,
this?
it's not
Come
David.
on,
It's like
it could've
y'all.
been your week.
Y'all were biased.
That's right.
Y'all were biased.
Yeah, I've been saying for years that the judges are biased in this game, but I was told flat out to my face that I wouldn't be winning today. However, I do feel good about my odds.
Well, let's see
because
what you got today.
Let's
I've got rubber ducky socks
Okay.
with
Okay.
sunglasses on them.
With rubber
So they're
duckies.
rubber
Are they
duckies.
Gavin
So-
socks?
Yeah, they're rubber
Cool rubber
duckies.
duckies.
Wow.
As in rubber ducky, you're the one.
Okay.
You make
Okay.
bath time so much fun. But
Of
now
course.
he makes bath time cool because he's got some
Got the
sunglasses.
shades.
These are I think the goat socks.
That's pretty
Okay.
cool.
These are the winners, I think for sure.
Okay.
Okay.
What you got?
I think that Ryan should go first, and I'll reveal it last since I'm the champion.
Let's say,
Oh
'cause he's
my
so used to
gosh.
winning, he's got to have the grand
Accustomed to
reveal,
winning.
right?
He's very confident.
All right,
All right,
Ryan,
so
let's see.
today I have Iron Man.
Oh, that's a good one.
Nice.
That's
Just so
a good
everyone
one.
knows, I did give him those.
That
so.
may or may
Okay.
not have been factored into the decision to wear these socks today. Just saying. Iron Man socks today.
Okay.
All right,
Protectors
Wow.
of you and I
Tony
deserve.
Stark himself, not bad. Rest in
Yes.
peace.
A little
Rest in
biased.
peace.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay, so
David,
I'm not
Do
trying
we need
to.
a drum roll too? Or?
No, because I'm not trying to win, but I'm pretty sure I'm taking this one.
David and I
again.
were on a similar wavelength
Unless-
again today.
No.
Unless
boy.
in just like out of principle I don't win, but I wore my Tin Man.
Which I
Socks.
gave him.
Oh.
I will
Yeah.
say.
Iron Man.
Kelsey
Yeah,
gave
what's up
me
with
a-
y'all
We
wearing
have
these, like,
Iron Man
character-based
and
socks?
Tin
Okay.
Man.
It's
So-
a good choice.
What's the backstory on the Tin Man socks, real quick?
So the backstory, actually, I think Kelsey gave us Tin Man socks, and who else gave us? Was it Elizabeth?
did too.
Okay.
Elizabeth gave us Tin Man socks. I
Why?
was the Tin Man in Wizard of Oz, along with my two great friends. I had the Cowardly Lion, John Galantis,
Yes.
and I had the Scarecrow, Ryan.
That
And,
was a couple. That was like 2 years ago.
It was
Mhm.
like
Yeah.
it was like 2 plays
Yeah.
ago. So I'm the Tin Man around here, and
Yep.
that's why I
You
wore
have no
these.
heart.
I have no heart.
Wow. So
David's
Perfect for
killing
today's
it at the
episode, if we're being
sock
honest.
I don't like the way that sounds. That doesn't bode well for me.
He's just killing it.
I know, right?
Show him your trophy.
Let's
Show him
see.
your trophy.
No, I love how it's not show him the
Show 'em the
trophy.
tro-
it's
yeah.
Show him your
Show 'em
trophy.
my
Right.
trophy.
Right.
So who? All right. Who wins the trophy for the week?
I'm gonna let our guest judge make
All
that
right.
decision.
All right,
Yes,
all right,
I
Nicole.
think, I think
Nicole.
we'd be
Which
divided.
one? We
I
got
I
three.
can't. I
Yes.
cannot
Yeah.
make this decision. I know
Yes.
we're
Cool
divided,
rubber ducky.
so-
You make the decision.
Tiebreaker.
Okay.
Tin
So-
Man and Iron Man.
Because the rubber duckies are out. Let's be real.
No, they're not.
Yeah, they're way out. Sorry.
You didn't like.
Really?
I thought she was the judge.
Okay, you
It
judge.
reminds you
Right,
of
sorry.
Gavin.
Judge.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Gavin.
Judge.
My son plays with rubber duckies in his tub.
But I'm a fan of Sesame Street. I grew up on Sesame Street, and it's on Sesame
We're
Street.
about to have a
Bro,
three-way
that's
tie.
fine. So vote for the Duckies.
Okay.
So
So
you're
you
actually
judge.
agreeing.
You're judging. So go ahead. You choose. Iron Man, Tin Man, Rubber Duckies.
Well, if she's judging, I have Ursula socks on.
Oh,
I'm a
No,
big-
you're not in
I'm
the
a big
competition.
fan. Really?
Wait
Hold
a
up, hold
minute.
up,
Wait
no.
a minute.
If we're abstaining, I'm gonna show off my Ursula
This is
socks.
Oh,
what do you know?
okay.
So it's
Some
Rubber
Nicole's got-
Duckies,
some
a
Nicole's got
tech
thrown in
billionaire,
there.
a man
Oh.
made of tin, and a
You don't have
And
any
that sea
Rebecca?
octopus.
Okay, well,
Yes.
I've got,
Let's
I've
see,
just
Rebecca.
got regular.
Look at those athletic socks.
What are
Way
they-
to kill
what
it,
are they,
Rebecca.
Wow.
Nothing sillier than athletics.
Okay.
You know what? It's important to be healthy. We've talked about this.
well,
It's so silly to be healthy.
I guess since I'm a guest judge, then
Uh-huh.
I get to.
you got it, yeah.
Yes.
It's you.
Ursula.
What?
Oh my goodness! I love
What
the
an
Little
upset.
Mermaid.
She's obese, Nicole, and she's mean. and
Honestly, I
hateful.
didn't see that
phenomenal.
coming.
Oh. I,
David,
This
my
is
trophy.
wow.
Well done.
unbelievable.
Congratulations.
I'm tired of this.
Kelsey.
Nicole, see, I knew I
I
liked
will
you.
say Kelsey turned that entire competition
That
around.
was
I'm just
a
gonna start
waste
wearing
of
white
I will
socks.
have
Came
to
out of
say, I
nowhere.
will have to say that if it hadn't been for Ursula,
Who's a runner-up? Yeah.
John, you've yet to win.
Oh, that
Oh,
hurts
man.
worse.
I'm sorry.
That hurts worse.
Sorry.
Just don't
John.
put yourself in front of my car later.
Oh, gosh.
Why don't we
Wow,
go ahead and
that's intense.
transition to some fan mail?
No, I
John?
don't want to.
Wow. Okay.
No, I
Okay.
will.
I try to support you.
Thank
I
you
did,
so
I
much.
did.
Dr. Shaw's my only friend in the room.
Yeah.
And
Wow.
I've known that.
All I could see was Gavin.
Thank
In
you.
the bad.
That's fair.
This week's fan mail comes from Linda B. I tell you what, Nicole, why don't you tell me what B stands for? What do you think Linda B might stand for? We give them fake names to protect their anonymity.
Baloney?
Baloney?
Baloney.
Linda Baloney.
sure,
I
why
love it.
not?
Linda Baloney.
Linda
Not a
Baloney.
suggestion.
Yeah. You like Linda Baloney?
Sure.
All right. Hey guys, loving the show. I also do laundry in little bits at a time, so David's not alone on that. I can't stand to have to do such massive amounts of laundry at a time. Not sure if it's laziness or if it's actually just more manageable, but it's definitely how I do it as well. Keep up the good work. Loving the podcast, Linda B.
Since I'm switching, I'm gonna control this, and I'm gonna have it on me. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good
Linda.
job. I agree.
If I did laundry, I
100%.
bet I would agree with you.
Linda Baloney, don't
Linda Baloney.
cross over to the dark side.
Don't.
to the dark side.
We want to encourage people to write in more. Don't insult them. Don't go against our fans.
Make sure you guys are writing
You're
in that
right,
fan
Linda
mail.
B.
Make sure you're writing in that fan mail to Carpe Manana at clearviewbc.org. We love hearing from you guys, and if you submit us some fan mail, maybe we'll read it on next week's episode. You guys ready to dive into this week's topic?
Let's do it.
Okay. Well, guys, like we mentioned earlier, this week we're talking about something brand new that's coming up here at Clearview. At the time of this recording, we're getting ready to start a brand new series. We're approaching Valentine's Day. Love and relationships are on people's minds. Our Valentine's banquet is right around the corner. But Dr. Shaw, in your messages on each weekend, we're starting a brand new series. And we've done series related to marriage in the past, but this one is a little bit different. Do you want to talk a little bit about what we can expect coming up?
Yeah, absolutely. So we have done two Operation something series. So the first one was Operation
Safeguard.
Safeguard. The second one was Operation
Restore.
Restore. Great, y'all remember that. So those are the two Operation series that we've done because we believe that love is a battlefield.
That's right. That's right. It's a
Cue
war
music
zone.
there.
Yeah, Pat Benatar. Anyways, so we believe that to keep your love in your relationship, in your marriage, especially in your family, you have to fight for it. You have to really know that you cannot be complacent. You cannot just expect things to happen. You have to fight for your marriage relationship. Am I right?
Yeah.
And so all of our series so far, and it's just been two, have been kind of that Operation something. And so we're doing another one called Operation Fortify. And so this one's going to help us strengthen our marriages, close those back doors where the enemy can get in and find a way to, get a foothold. Am I right?
Yeah.
I love that. I love that kind of language because it's, oftentimes you think about marriage conferences or messages, and it's like this really kind of abstract, very kind of wistful, ambiguous language. But this is the battle plan.
Yeah.
This is our tactic. This is our strategy. And I mean, as a guy, that appeals to me. Like, this is the battle strategy, the battle plan for my marriage.
I think that with Fortify, the word fortify, I feel like it doesn't just all happen when it's going on. So you have to,
Right.
so in order to fortify, you have to prepare.
Right.
Yeah.
That's a good point.
So I think that's kind of cool.
It is, and I thought too. We were talking over what we were going to speak on, the different topics within this particular series, and I said I have this picture in my mind. At first, it's a couple, a man and a wife, and they are in battle with each other. They're at each other, but they don't realize that the enemy is in the room.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, through prayer, through just that spiritual insight, they realize, wait a minute. We are not each other's enemy.
Right.
And they go from this stance at each other to side by side to fight the enemy. And that was the picture that I had in my mind.
Yeah, I thought more of a Benedict Arnold,
Yeah.
or people in ancient history you read about those defectors who would open the gates from the inside.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, you have this impenetrable fort or palace or whatever, and then the next thing you know, it get conquered. How did it get conquered? They didn't take down the walls. They didn't ram the doors in. Oh, wait. Somebody from the inside opened the gates to the enemy.
It's really interesting that it's that way, because it's so much similar in our marriages. Like it's so rare that someone from the outside just comes in and seduces someone away and you just get swept up clearly out of the blue. It's always that you're always feeding into that. You're flirting just a little too much, or you're just kind of always towing that line and pushing it further and further and further. And it is truly coming from the inside of the marriage first.
But I feel like if it's coming from the inside of the marriage, sometimes, and not all the time, but sometimes you're bringing that into the marriage.
Right.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
for anyone that's like dating or engaged, you really need to be in the Word.
And honestly,
making sure that
singles
you're
too, who
ready.
are preparing to be in that dating phase.
Yeah.
Like anyone who's not yet married needs to be focused on the Word and
Yeah,
focus
this
on
is for
getting
all of
themselves.
everybody.
Yeah.
Certainly.
Yeah.
Be prepared so that when you guys do join together, you're not bringing all this other stuff in with you.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And I really love the fact that it's Operation Fortify has come after the other ones, because it's like, all right, first of all, we need to safeguard what we have.
Right.
Like, we might not be in the place we need to be, but we need to start safeguarding what we
That's
have.
right.
And now that we're safeguarded, that we have kind of a perimeter set, we can start restoring anything that we've lost in our marriage,
Right.
anything that,
And that
through the
loss
fall.
goes all the way back to the Garden of Eden, because
Right.
that's
Yeah.
when the loss really happened.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's true.
Right? So the marriage relationship, the love that God expected Adam and Eve to have towards each other was lost. So we're really restoring thousands of years. So not just in your own life or your own experience. You're going back in time.
Yeah. And I mean, now that we have everything, not everything restored, obviously we're not going to fully be restored, but now that we've restored back the right mindsets and the right thoughts, we're going to fortify that. We're going to add to it, and we're going to make sure that it's impenetrable.
That's right.
I really like that idea and the way that kind of flows.
Well, I think one thing that really helped Ellie and myself after doing Operation Safeguard, and then even more into Operation Restore, is that you set a clear vision for your marriage. You know, you
Yes.
have that vision up front, and so even we did it with the there was 5 things, and this is the vision for our marriage. And you can have more than 5, but the point is you're talking about it. You're setting that vision, and when visions are unclear, it can get bad.
But that actually is the first point
Yeah.
in this series or this message. And it's the first gate or door
Right.
that gets opened from the inside. And that is unclear vision. Unclear vision meaning what do you see? Where are you headed? Okay? And we're talking about 5 years, 15 years, 50 years from now. What do you see in your marriage?
Yeah.
A lot of couples are just living for the moment. Some are just living for the wedding. We're getting married and it's going to be beautiful, blah, blah, blah. Or they're living for some idea or ideal. You're not going to be the same age. You're not going to look the same. A lot is going to change. You're going to go through ups and downs in life. But if you and your spouse have discussed and talked about and even dreamt
Yeah.
what the next 20 years, 30 years, 40 years will look like. Like Nicole and I, we talk about the day when, our kids, our grandkids all are there, sitting around the Thanksgiving table, and to look around and see all these people that came through two individuals who decided to not only put God first, but also build their marriage on biblical principles, on Christ himself. And look what we have today. So we see that vision is there.
Well, I'm not married, but I am engaged.
Yay.
And so,
Flash the ring.
So-
Flash the ring for the
Yeah,
camera.
that's right.
Flash, there you go.
There
it is. Oh,
Look how sparkly
it
it
is
is.
sparkly.
yeah, you did a good job.
Go
You
ahead.
did a good job.
Go ahead.
So something that we've talked about, because I've been through, we learned some of this in previous sermons, and so I wanted him and I to look through all this stuff. And so one thing that we talked about was five-year goals that we have individually. So we talked about those, but then we had to talk about how we can consider each other in those goals.
Mm-hmm.
So don't give up your goals just because you are getting married or in a relationship. Don't give those up, but consider the other person.
Yeah.
So I mean, some people think that, oh, I got married, I can't go for that big job. And that's not true.
Yeah.
Just consider each other.
Mm-hmm.
No, and then you need to have goals together.
I think what's important really is that you guys are talking about it, because so many couples don't. You know, so many couples just have so many issues that go unresolved, or they just they can't bring themselves to actually talk about their goals or what's bothering them.
That is true. A lot of times, if you, I know in relationships and even in our own marriage in the early years, a lot of times if we had an argument,
Yeah.
you know, we might say, I'm sorry,
Yeah.
or we might just kind of let it go, let it, you know, quit. It's not simmering anymore. So now let's just sweep it under the rug. But just because it's out of sight does not mean that it is still not
Right.
there.
Right.
And it's going to come back up
Yeah.
again somewhere else.
I feel like couples so often, if they're not being proactive and not thinking about these things ahead of time, they tend to start getting this skewed vision in their heads about what their relationship's going to be like. If I've got this flaw, I've got this brokenness, you're going to fix that. You know what I mean? As opposed to what the reality situation is, which is that's not going to happen.
No,
Yeah.
no.
I think a lot of times people focus on what's easier in the short term. Like it's easier just for right now. Just don't touch it. Don't talk about it.
Right.
We'll deal with it later. We're not dealing with it right now. We need to focus on this right now. But if you allow those things to keep being swept under the rug, eventually there are cracks that are going to start forming, and then it takes some serious repair rather than maybe being uncomfortable for a little while, but resolving that issue.
I will say I heard from someone one time, and I can't remember who it was, but they said, no matter what happens, I never want to be a person that can't apologize.
Yeah.
So it takes humility to apologize. There are people who really cannot apologize.
It's a hard thing
I've
to
met
do.
people that cannot apologize, and I kind of took that on. I was like, I never want to be a person that can't apologize for what I've done.
And you can even add to that, apologize is saying, I'm sorry or forgive me.
Yeah.
But then also you have to learn to forgive.
Yeah.
'Cause that's also part of the resolving. So give forgiveness, receive forgiveness. Both of those things get in the way of, resolving conflicts. And the door is open for the enemy to come in. You're opening from the inside. You see how easy that is.
Yeah. That's true, because I think a lot of people kind of fall into that mindset of, well, especially when one person doesn't have a problem apologizing to their spouse, the other person, they kind of become used to being the person who's apologized to. So instead of it being like, hey, I really appreciate you for apologizing and for trying to make it right, it just becomes, well, quit messing up, listen to me, do
Right.
what I say, and
Yeah.
you won't have to do that anymore.
If you only did this, or if you stopped
Yeah.
doing that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of older couples that have been together for a long time, or they just, they've learned a lot. I feel like the one piece of advice they always give is forgive, forgive, forgive.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that
Yes.
just tells you right there, it's not going to be easy.
Yeah.
No, it's not. One of my favorite quotes is from Ruth Bell Graham, and she said, "A marriage is just the union of two good forgivers."
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's true.
That's true.
Yeah.
Because I mean, imagine and think about how many times. I mean, we've been married 27 years, and the rest of y'all, well, some of y'all aren't married yet, but the rest of y'all have been married less than that. Think about how many times that you've either had to say I'm sorry, or you have had
That's okay.
to say
I
it's
forgive you.
okay.
Yeah.
How many times?
So that only comes after marriage, right?
No.
And those unresolved issues can come from a lot of different places. It can come from things that you're dealing with personally, things that you bring into the marriage, conflicts, some unmet needs, things that you want from the other person but just haven't communicated, or maybe you have and they're just unmet. It can come from a lot of places. But like you said, Dr. Shaw, all of those are places where you're leaving the gate open to the enemy.
Yeah, when we're talking about unmet needs, we're talking about spiritual needs. We're talking about emotional needs. We're talking about physical or sexual needs, right?
Yeah.
Yes. With spiritual needs, a lot of times, and I see a lot of problem with, it's not just the woman or it's not just the man,
Right.
but they both have trouble saying, I need this.
Mm-hmm.
I want this.
Oh, I need you to be.
I need you to be like this, or I need you to say this. I need you to do this. They really think, and I think the problem is I think we all believe that our husbands and our wives are mind readers.
Yeah.
Wait, they're not?
No.
I really thought.
We assume.
Yeah.
We assume.
Like you think that, well, he should know that. She should know that. She should know that I need this or I want this. And you're not saying, can you do this? You're not voicing it. And it's very uncomfortable at first.
And it's usually comes from the assumption that if you are so smart and you do this, this, and this, why can't you do that, that, that?
Yeah.
Or
So-
if you love me,
Right.
then you
And you would be doing this. So it's a lot of assumptions, and it gets us in a lot of trouble.
I think talking about that, like not being afraid to say that I need this or to tell your spouse that I need, I think at least speaking from a guy's perspective, like it took a lot for me to learn that it's not weakness. Because I think a lot of women kind of tend more towards that, like, if you loved me, you would know what I need. But I think a lot of guys are like, I'm good. I don't need anything. And they think in their mind that's strength. That's contentness. That's
Yeah.
happiness in life, just to be like, I'm fine.
Yeah,
I'm good.
I can see that because I mean, even a single guy who doesn't have that kind of relationship with anybody, thinking about like telling somebody, hey, I need you to do this, it makes me think, okay, they're gonna think less of me and like they're gonna see me as a weaker person.
Well, and living in that denial puts the blame. Ultimately, it's like it's. I don't want to say it's manipulation, but I mean, living in denial like that ultimately puts the blame on your wife. Like, hey, look, I'm happy. You're unhappy with the marriage. I don't know. What are you unhappy about? You're the one with the problem, not me. I'm good. You know what I mean? So I think it is denial and understanding. And I appreciate you saying that, because that's something that I struggled with for a long time, was just, hey, it's okay to need something from your wife. It's
Well,
okay to tell your wife what you need.
It's so hard for men to talk about. From your perspective, how can a woman bring that up to like give him
Yeah.
the opportunity,
Give him the window of
That's a good
opportunity.
point.
Yeah.
I'm
well,
still learning.
I
I don't know.
I will say this: a lot of times, if a wife cannot say that and have her husband respond in a favorable way, a lot of times books will help.
Yeah.
If it's a book about a man's needs and a woman's needs, you can bring it about that way and say, hey, why don't we read this together?
Yeah.
Or would you mind reading this book? And then after you're done, we can discuss it.
And this is such a huge point, the unmet needs. We're talking about spiritually. What does a wife expect from her husband? He needs to be a spiritual leader. What does a husband expect from his wife? To follow, but also to love and support.
Yeah.
What are the emotional needs? Well, a wife needs to be felt, needs to be reminded or feel like, she's wanted, she's loved. A husband's needs are more to be admired, to not admired in the sense like, oh, you're so lovely, wonderful. Admired in the sense of saying, hey, you're doing a great job, to appreciate. And then sexual needs. We don't like to talk about that in our culture, but as many couples that I've talked to in this area, this is a huge problem.
Yeah.
A huge problem. And people pretend like it's not a problem, and then their marriage begins to suffer. And they try to blame this, that, and the other, but it's a problem.
I ask people, or I ask, especially women. I taught a class not too long ago, and I think there was the first few nights there was a total of like 50 women in the class, and we did eventually get to the sexual intimacy, and I asked them. I was like, So when you start having problems in your marriage, if you start fighting, if you're having financial problems, if you're any problems, what's the first thing to go out the window? And they're all like, sex. So it is a litmus test for your marriage. If your marriage is good, if things are being resolved in a timely manner, there's forgiveness, there's spiritual intimacy, all these things, then that will be good.
Yeah.
There's a common denominator amongst all those things that you just said, though, and that's communication.
Yeah.
And one thing that helped me learn communication, I'm still learning, I'm not great at it, is listening to Tony and Elisa
Lorenzo's,
that's true.
With One
Very
Extraordinary
true.
Marriage. They were a huge help. They taught about communicating and just ask for it. And that's one thing that my fiance found really interesting about me when he first met me was like, you just ask for things. He was like, and then I know that you want that. I'm like, well, that's
a normal way to do
it's
it.
a normal way to do it. It's just for some reason people feel really weird about just saying what they want.
Yeah.
But it gets rid of a lot of fights and
question and
questioning.
confusion.
Yeah.
And I feel too that when it comes to the sexual intimacy part, I feel like there's a stereotype for men and there's a stereotype for women. And the stereotype for women is that we have a low libido and we don't want it, and our husbands are these animals that are coming after. And that is not the truth. That is not the truth. If you truly understand what it means to each other, if you read books, if you study, sexual intimacy for a man is a way for him to feel emotionally close to his wife. As women, we feel emotionally close to our husbands when they talk to us, and we have these deep conversations and we spend that quality time together. For a man, it doesn't happen that way. He needs that sexual intimacy to have that emotional closeness.
It's true because there's so many times like women are bombarded with compliments so much every single day, 24/7, to the point where they feel unsafe about them. Like it's like, hey, stop telling me I look good. Stop coming on to me. I don't like that. Whereas men, I can't remember the last time. I mean, truly, I can't remember the last time I've ever been complimented on my looks, especially by a woman that wasn't my wife. So it is true. Like I do feel that emotional closeness. Like right after, I'm like, I think she might be attracted to me. Like I think she might like me.
It is such a exhaustive subject. There's no way we can look at it in this brief show.
Yeah.
All the aspects of physical intimacy. But it is a very important one, and people need to really research that and stop making assumptions and stop being like, oh, I don't care about those things. I think your partner does.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I think it really matters where you're getting your information from.
Yeah.
Do not just get it off Google.
Yeah.
Or how you grew up.
Or how you grew up. Do not take away from how your parents taught you about it, or if they didn't teach you at all. Please
It
don't.
also reminds you that you're accountable to one another.
Yep. That's right.
You are 100% accountable to your partner in that way.
And that's actually the final enemy within the gates, which is unaccountable living. And when in a marriage you have people just living for themselves, they're their own boss. They have no one who checks up on them, no one they have to face after they do something wrong or sinful. That is a very dangerous living. Or you have a bunch of buddies that you go to the bar with, or you hang out after work and on and on. They don't have the same priorities, same values as you are supposed to have biblically. The enemy is already there within the gates. So unaccountable living is a big trap that opens the door to the enemy.
Yeah.
So many more things that we could explore in this episode. I don't want to take too much away from the sermon series. Make sure you guys, if you're nearby, make sure you're at Clearview. Coming up this weekend and the next weekend, the Valentine's Day weekends right here, sandwiching Valentine's Day. We would love to see you guys. If you're not, make sure you're watching online for Operation Fortify. Part 1 and 2. It's going to be a 2-part series.
We'll put the link to our Facebook page and our YouTube page in the link of this in this iTunes or Spotify description.
Do you think that we could put some resources, I guess, like books and stuff?
Yes.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Yes,
Well,
definitely.
absolutely.
I think that like I said, it is so important where you get your information from. It's I would not just get my information off of Google or just
Well, for some people that don't know where to start.
the biggest place I would think and the most popular for millions of Americans is One Extraordinary Marriage.
Yep.
Yes.
They have the #1 marriage podcast in the world, and they
They've
are
got
close
books.
friends
Yeah.
of ours. And they have books. So all you have to do is go to their website, and you can.
It's also on Amazon.
Yes.
Also, you can go backlog into Carpe Manana and hear them on our show.
That's
That's
right.
right.
That's
Yeah,
right.
sure.
Because we've
Couple
talked about this
times.
stuff
That's right.
many
Absolutely.
times.
With them.
We'll
Yeah.
put those
With
links in the
here.
description. Make sure you guys are looking for that podcast as well. And if you have any questions about what we talked about on the episode, send us an email to carpemanana@clearviewbc.org. We can maybe explain a little more fully, provide you some customized resources, and let you know the next steps that you need to take in order to fortify your marriage. You guys ready for our last segment of the
Let's
show?
do it. I'm ready.
Okay. Well, guys, the last segment of the show today is the Grapevine. We have another entry in the Grapevine today. And Kelsey, you have the Grapevine this week. Is that right?
I do, yes.
Okay. Kelsey,
so
what are you griping about today?
people know that I love coffee, right?
It's a known fact.
It's a known fact. Everybody knows.
It's an own problem.
Well,
yeah.
that's
it's
debatable.
okay.
But
Yeah, I wouldn't agree with that.
okay, so here's my grapevine. Okay, so we have coffee that we have here, right? We have great coffee. David does a great job. Thomas does a great job making coffee for us. So I want coffee. I'll go in there multiple times a day. It's true. It's not a problem. But I'll go in there, and sometimes I'll be behind certain other people in line, right? And they might be filling up their mug before me. And it may or may not be bigger than the mug that I've got. And then I show up, and there's nothing left. It's
Right.
empty.
I mean,
right?
it's inconsiderate.
It's inconsiderate.
And if I could
Right.
wax poetic about that for a minute,
Sure.
there's a epidemic sweeping our nation of people who have huge mugs.
Yes.
And I'm sick of it. And I know
Why
you
do
are
they
too.
need big mugs? Just go back and get a
Right. Just
second.
get a second cup.
Just get a
helping.
second
Yeah.
cup.
Do you
Just
have
get a
any
second
opinion
cup.
on that? Anybody from this side of the room?
So I'm just gonna put the camera here and just, I mean, if anybody wants to talk,
Right. Sure.
anybody.
Anybody.
Well, I think that's all the time we have for today's episode.
Excuse you.
Can I say something real quick?
Please.
Uh-oh.
Can I say something real
Please
quick?
be
Yes.
measured, self-controlled, but say it.
Whenever I want coffee, I always look at Ryan's desk.
Yep.
I'm like, okay, I'm about to get up for coffee. Am I going to waste a trip to the cafe to get a coffee? I'll look at his desk, and if he has one of those big mugs full of coffee, I'm like, it's already gone. It's already gone.
It's not even worth it.
or if I want coffee and I see him getting ready to leave the
We gotta
office,
race him.
You run
Yes.
to the
You
cafe,
run.
or you gotta take it all.
Gotta
I
get there first.
definitely don't want to make a habit of calling out our co-hosts on the Grapevine. That
I don't
being
know
said,
what you're talking about.
That being said, you needed to be called out in front of all your friends. That's the only way to publicly shame you and modify that behavior.
We dealt with it, honestly. Okay. We dealt with it for like 4 years before saying anything.
We've been quiet for
4
a while.
years.
We got
finally said
industrial-sized
something.
coffee makers, and it still wasn't
didn't
enough.
fix
Go
the
ahead and
problem.
take a big swig of that coffee. There you go.
Oh,
Yeah.
I can't even. I can't even.
I have to make a whole pot
Just
for
this
him.
guy.
Are you proud of yourself?
Most
sometimes?
of the time, what I'll do is I'll just get the coffee pot from the kitchen
And
and
just
just stick a
bottoms up.
straw in the top.
Call
Call it a day.
Yeah,
It's called having 5 kids.
yeah, I guess so.
That many. That's how many kids.
Please, if you're out there, don't
Don't be
use
like
big
Ryan.
mugs.
Don't be like
This is
Yeah.
fine.
Yeah.
This is
a
fine.
normal
This
size
is
mug.
also
It's
fine.
great. Excuse you.
This is all. It's got a handle and it
Look,
keeps the
I'm-
coffee
no.
warm.
I'm
It's
just
fine.
I'm just gonna go around the
Leave some
room
for
and everybody
others.
hold up their mug. Okay, 1, 2. Okay, we got Dr. Shaw and Nicole, and now we got. Okay, now back to Ryan.
I have a
Yeah.
Star Trek mug I wanted to bring in here, but it still had some coffee in it, and it was cold, so I was like, I'm not gonna pour it out.
This keeps mine warm.
Yeah, I bet.
So
It better. You have so much
For
of
the
it.
for all of our audio listeners, you really need to be watching the video podcast because that's the biggest mug I've ever seen.
Yeah.
send us
Honestly, it's true.
Send us a picture of your coffee mug, your go-to coffee mug. Now, not the one that you think is socially acceptable, but the
one
one
you
that
really
you
use.
actually
The one that you know
drink
you'd be taking to
coffee
work.
out of at work, on your day, wherever you're going about doing what you need to do. Send us the one you actually drink out of.
That
I want
big
to
ol'
see. I want a
8-gallon jug of
comparison of
coffee.
other
Ryan
people's
just
coffee
wants to
mug
be
sizes.
justified and
I
feel
know
better
that I'm
about
not alone.
himself. No.
I know that I'm not alone. in
I
this
tell
one,
you
so
what.
I
I tell you
want
what.
to see those
I'll
oversized
tell you
coffee
this.
mugs.
If you show us a mug bigger than that one, we will give you a personalized shout out on the podcast, and we will send you a socially acceptable sized mug.
You know what? If you send
Yeah, there you go.
send a
Christmas
picture
Center. Save your mug.
of the mug, if you send a picture of a mug bigger than that, I will make you a cup of coffee if you are here at the church.
That sized?
There you go.
I'll just make them a cup of coffee. I don't
David
know. It
does
just
make good
depends
coffee,
on the
so.
coffee that they bring. So
You heard it here first. Send those emails to carpemignon at clearviewbc.org. Let us know your coffee mug sizes. And join us next week on Carpe Mignon.